Good morning, everyone, and welcome to BIS 307 Management Information Systems. My name is Adiata Boris Aseni, and today we are going to dive into how information systems work with people in organizations. This is really exciting stuff because it's all around us. You probably used several information systems just getting to class today. Okay. So, before we get into the meat of it, um, we are going to look at how this picture we see on the slide, which is a book by Patricia Wallens, Information Systems and People, can really help us in understanding what information is better. So, let me quickly run you through what we'll cover today. We've got 6 main things we need to understand. The first is how organizations use these systems and what makes information valuable, the building blocks of information systems, and how all of this affects both businesses and individuals. Don't worry about writing all of these down. We'll cover throughout everything as we go. So let's start with something. Let's start with something that you are most familiar with. Ghana's Most Beautiful. We all know how voting works on the show, right? When you send your vote, there's a whole system working behind the scenes that is collecting the votes, counting them automatically, showing the results in real time. Or also think about you order something from Kiku shop. Ever wondering how they keep track of your order? That is all information systems at work. You can easily get to track your order and the time of delivery. Now, organizations use information systems in 6 main ways. Think of it like a toolbox. It's like having different tools for different jobs, right? You've got a system for running operations, dealing with customers, making decisions, and all that. We'll break it down one after the other. So, the first slide, let's talk about operations first. The operations, we all know how, for instance, we all know how MTN needs to keep track of all these mobile money transactions, right? That is operations management. Or how banks need to make sure they are following all of their banking regulations. Information systems help with all that. Every industry has its own specific needs. Think about how hospitals manage patient records or how universities even keep track of student grades. Okay, moving on to the customer interactions. Have you ever wondered how companies remember your preferences, like what you do want? That is why there's something like CRM, which is the customer relationship management. When you go to a Vodafone website, for instance, and it remembers your previous complaints or your purchase, that is CRM in action because you've ever used these systems. So these systems help businesses build relationship with customers, not just the process transactions. Okay, then making decisions. Here's something interesting. Remember when decisions were made mostly on just a feeling or gut feeling you get? Now it's all about data. When a shop owner decides what to produce or what products are in stock. They are not just guessing anymore. They look at the sales data, the customer preference, and other trends. So, this is what we call business intelligence. We'll dive more into it. Now, moving on to collaborating of teams. Look into these numbers. Facebook has over 2.8 billion users. WhatsApp has 2 billion. These aren't just for chatting with friends anymore. Companies use these platforms for teamwork, project management, and even customer service. It's completely changed how we work together with these sites. And moving to competitive advantage. Um, Speaking of change, having better information systems can give businesses a real edge over their competitors. Think about how mobile banking changed the game in Ghana. Banks that adopted it early had a huge advantage. Some goes for individual productivity. Just think about how much faster you can write assignments when a computer compared to writing by hand. It's two different things for it. So now let's break down into something fundamental. There's a difference between data, information, and knowledge. When I say 25 degrees Celsius, it's data. And when I tell you it's 25 degrees Celsius in Tamale today, that's information. So when you know that 25 degrees Celsius means you should wear light clothes, that is knowledge. And for information to be valuable, it needs to be timely, it needs to be accurate, it needs to be complete. So every IS system, which is information system, has four main parts. We have the people, which is us. We have technology, which is the tools we use. We have processes, that is how we do things. And we have data, what we work with. So think of it like it's cooking. You need to cook. These ingredients, the recipe, and the kitchen equipment, all these parts need to work together to make something useful. So when you look at this, you can easily relate it to your personal life. So these systems are everywhere in businesses, government, offices, NGOs. Each organization has its own IT department, usually which is led by someone called a CIO, which is the Chief Information Officer. Think of them as a conductor, making sure that technology really works. So before we wrap up, we need to talk about the flip side, the risks and information, the risks and ethical issues, which when we dive in, um, we get to realize that there are some risks and there are some ethical issues when it comes to information systems. Yes, information systems make things faster and easier, but they also raise questions like privacy and security. When MTN has your personal data, for instance, how do they protect it? What happens if there's a breach? All these questions can be asked. So, looking at this, this is so far an overview of what information systems and people is. Um, what and the summary of it is the role of its IS. We've looked into the role of IS. We've looked into the three characteristics, the four main components of IS, MIS and its research areas, the examples, and the ethics. So thank you so much for this, and we'll meet next time.